Those on your side, like you're just simple.
One of your first guys where you hope, and then you know we're broadside, like a Canadian.
Yeah, I'm torn between the advertising, like living in this county context.
Yeah.
All right.
The stickers on the truck.
I think we're ready.
I don't know. Anything.
Round of applause. All right. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I know sometimes it's hard to get away from the family and come down and visit us here at the bookstore. But it's really great for you all to be here. This is what it's all about, building community and getting out and shaking hands and letting everybody know that we're together in this fight. And so, tonight I want to introduce Barry. If you don't know, Barry's law enforcement career has spanned 8 years. His talents were soon recognized, and he was contacted by the Permian Basin Drug Task Force located in Odessa, Texas, where he participated in joint operations with the ATF, the DEA, the FBI, and U.S. military. According to a former West Texas Drug Task Force boss, Barry Cooper is probably the best narcotics officer in the state and maybe the country, so it makes him well qualified to speak on the drug war tonight. During the course of his 8-year career as a drug enforcement officer, he made more than 800 drug arrests, 50 vehicle seizures, and confiscated over $500,000 in cash and assets. After leaving law enforcement, and this is probably the more of the highlights of his career, Barry Cooper went on to produce and star in the DVD titled Never Get Busted Again, Volume 1, Traffic Stops, and the follow-up, Never Get Busted Again, Volume 2, Never Get Raided. And he has filed as a Libertarian candidate for Texas Attorney General. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome the next Texas Attorney General.
Woo, yeah.
Well, Harlan always seems to put a good crowd together. How many were here last time I was here? Excellent. Okay, I've got some new material, and some of it might be a little repeat for the second timers. My name's Barry Cooper. I just turned 40 years old, and I'm feeling healthy. I want to talk about my family first, then I'll talk a little bit about my police background, and then the Never Get Busted video series. I have a Cop Buster video for you guys to see. How many are familiar with Cop Busters, the reality show? How many have not seen the reality show trailer to it? We're going to show that to you. And then I'll talk to you a little bit about my race for Texas Attorney General. And then it'll be a question and answer session, and fire at me whatever you want. My family. This is my beautiful wife, Candy. Stand up, babe. I am having an affair with that woman. Candy saved my life. And she continues to save it every day because of certain situations in my life that I was going through. I was headed to prison or certainly to the grave, drinking a lot of vodka. And I met Candy, and she would come outside while I was drinking the vodka and say, "Here, try this." Hand me a joint. She was my pot dealer. I married her. And I would smoke that joint because I knew she loved me and wouldn't hurt me, or, okay, here, just to kind of get along. And I noticed after I smoked the pot, I didn't crave the vodka. So I'm not an alcoholic because of pot. And I'm a much nicer person. So that's my wife. I have a 16-year-old daughter that just finished her first year at Austin Community College. She took philosophy, speech, humanities, so it wasn't, a light load. And she only finished 1 year of high school, and we homeschooled a little bit, and she was ready for college and has done really well. My 13-year-old daughter is beautiful as ever. AB student, very bright, coming on strong, talented. And then my son here, stand up, Zach. Wave to everybody. Zach is, they diagnose 1 in every 151 born children in the U.S. now with autism. We don't think all of it's autism. We think a lot of it's shots and things of that. But Zach got a dose of whatever that was, and it made him hard of hearing, so he wears hearing aids. And he loves to talk. So after this is dismissed, he'll do more politicking than I. Everybody loves Zach, and he loves everybody. He just said, I love David. That's his biological father. We all raise him together. It's 2009, and people need to learn how to do that, work in the mixed families. So my police background, Harlan explained to you guys that I was one of our nation's top drug enforcement officers. Can y'all hear me in the back? Excellent. I was one of our nation's top drug enforcement officers for 8 years. I lived, ate, and breathed taking citizens' freedoms from them. And I believed what I was doing was right, and I wound up being one of the best at it. The reason I thought I was right, my parents raised me to believe that anybody that smoked pot or did cocaine or any drugs or broke the law, basically, were evil people. You got to understand, my father's a Vietnam War veteran, and he still doesn't get all of this. So even our freedom fighters don't understand that the legalization of these drugs is a freedom issue. It's not just a pot issue. So I was trained to arrest citizens, take their freedom from them, all the while thinking I was doing right. My parents taught me that. The schools I went to reinforced it. The church I went to, called it a sin and reinforced it. So I went after people really hard, not realizing what freedom meant and what it was about. I was a young man at that time, and I hadn't lived life, and life brings forward tragedies that help bring compassion into somebody's life. So when you're that young with that much power and you don't understand what it's like going through a tragedy, you start causing tragedy on others in the name of this crazy drug war. Well, I got so good at it, they started sending me across academies in Texas, teaching the tools of my trade, how to harm civilians. So I soon realized that the danger and the harm I was causing these families like y'all, crashing into your house at 3 in the morning with, 10 or 15 other men all hopped up on adrenaline. Hell, we might as well been on crack, and we terrorize and scare you to where those people are still having nightmares from when I used to go into their house. And then I'd rip them away from their kids. Here I'm 21. My little kids are like this. I don't know what it's like to look in the eyes of my kids being separated from me, but I know what it looks like in the eyes of the other parents. That's happening tonight in America. So sending the children away to Department of Human Services and putting mom and dad in jail for a bag of pot, that's more harm than the pot, if we had just left the pot in there. And that goes with cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamine as well. We dose millions of citizens every day with methamphetamine and heroin. And they don't go out and rape and kill and rob and steal. And we got millions of our little kids on Ritalin and Adderall, which is methamphetamine. And I don't agree with prescribing our kids that much methamphetamine, but that seems to be the trend. But the point is, these kids are taking methamphetamine, and they're not robbing, killing, and stealing.